distinguished guest earlier acknowledged, good morning. Our guest of honor and speaker, a member of the class of 1971 of the Philippine Military Academy, is a distinguished servant leader in our country. He is best known for his distinctive motto, "What is right must be kept right. What is wrong must be set right." A personal credo has faithfully observed these more than 40 years of public service. His rise to national consciousness started when he solved high-profile crimes, including kidnap for ransom cases in the 1980s and 1990s. In 1999, he was tasked to head the Philippine National Police, which, under his watch, enjoyed a revival of its glory days, along with the highest public approval ratings in its history. In 2001, he earned a Senate seat where he continued to show his no-nonsense brand of leadership, exhibited his consistent and unflinching resolve, particularly in his call to scrap the Port Barrel Fund, then known as the Priority Development Assistance Fund, as early as 2003, a full 10 years before the Port Barrel scam involving Janet Lim Napoles exploded in the Filipino people's collective faces. Also made sure his 200 million a year PDAF entitlement was returned to the National Treasury. While in the Senate, he also led a sturdy crusade against graft and corruption, as evidenced by the bills he filed and the exposes he made of anomalous transactions that marred our public institutions. During the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 17th Congresses from 2001 to date, he authored or co-authored landmark legislations, including RA 10927, or the Anti-Money Laundering Law and amendments thereto, which now include casinos as covered persons, Anti-Human Trafficking Act of 2001, Anti-Red Tape Act of 2007, revised AFP Modernization Program, Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health, Sin Tax or the excise tax on alcohol and tobacco, Republic Act 11055, or the act establishing the Philippine Identification System, which provides for easier transaction with the government and private entities, which helps deter criminality. The Free Irrigation Law, the Anti-Hazing Law of 2018, the law restoring the subpoena powers of the Philippine National Police Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, the act providing for the rank classification in the Philippine National Police, and Joint Resolution number 01 that authorized the increase in the base pay of military and uniformed personnel in the government, including pensions of retired NUPs. In the aftermath of Super Typhoon Yolanda that caused widespread destruction, damage, and death in central Philippines, he was appointed Presidential Assistant for Rehabilitation and Recovery, which the mandate of unifying the rehabilitation and recovery efforts of government and the private sector. Despite limited authority and government resources, his office crafted an 8-volume, 8,000-page comprehensive rehabilitation and recovery plan with 167 billion pesos proposed funding in a record 6 months. His efforts in the Yolanda rehabilitation led to the institutionalization of essential mechanisms that assisted calamity-affected communities. In the 2016 election, the Philippine people again entrusted him with the Senate seat. As a member of the 17th Congress, he continues to safeguard public interest and fight corruption, particularly by shielding the national budget from pork and other machinations so it can be truly spurred inclusive growth for Filipinos. He continues to advance his legislative agenda to initiate programs on budget reform and village empowerment, transparency and public accountability, anti-graft and corruption, and public order and security. To this day, he remains an untiring, tenacious watchdog of the national budget, making sure bogus congressional insertions and useless appropriations, aka pork, are checked and deleted during plenary debates. Because of his continuous crusade against wrongdoing, particularly against the pork barrel system in all its iterations, the pamantasan ng lungsod ng Manila, where he earned his master's degree in government management, conferred on him last March 27 the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa, a distinction that inspires him to remain committed to his excellence in public service. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all give a warm welcome to Honorable Senator Panfilo and Lacson.
The outstanding citizens of Baguio City, this day should actually belong to you, Mayor Driving Grace. Imagine if every citizen of this city is an outstanding citizen. And imagine if every citizen of this country is an outstanding citizen, then the Sanchez's and the Peldons of the world will become irrelevant. My good old friend, a colleague in the 18th Congress of the Republic of the Philippines, the Honorable Mark Go, the Congressman of the Lone District of Baguio City. Of course, my cavalier, a former comrade in arms, Mayor Benji Magalo, and his cadet girl for life, Arlene. Vice Mayor Faustino Logan, the members of the City Council, former Mayor Maurice Tumogan, former Mayor and Congressman Bernie Vergara, the other dignitaries present, executives and department heads, directors of government line agencies, barangay officials, guests, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. It is an honor to join you today as you celebrate the city's 110th charter anniversary. Baguio has come a long way since the 1900s, when it was still a cold, idyllic marshland in the Cordillera Mountains. Its history tells us that the city, nestled within the highlands, is a mine of gold, literally and figuratively. Literally, it was the lure of Igorot gold in the Cordilleras that drew in the Spanish conquistadores and the Americans in the region. Figuratively, the rich culture of our indigenous peoples, panoramic views, and abundant resources make for Baguio's golden value as a tourist destination. The once minor ranchera or rural settlement in the mountains maintained its moniker as the summer capital of the Philippines, and for a good reason. It is the best retreat from the sweltering heat of the lowlands. I myself always find refuge in the welcoming vibe of Baguio, having to spend my transformative and arduous years as a young cadet in the Philippine Military Academy in Port del Pilar, Baguio City. How I ended up in Baguio was a fascinating story to tell. It was more than half a century ago, in 1967, noong nag-aaral pa ako sa Lyceum of the Philippines, na kumukuha ng pre-law o BS Poli-Sci at the time. Sa Intramuros, Manila, nakatabi ng Mabuhay Institute of Technology. At the time, the examination center for the entrance for the cadetship in the Philippine Military Academy was being held in Mabuhay Institute of Technology, kapitbahay lang po ng aming eskwelahan. A friend of mine from our town in Imus, Cavite, approached me and requested me to accompany him to apply for the entrance examination. I ended up taking the entrance examination myself. To cut the long story short, he failed, I passed. To tell you frankly, my dream back then was to become a lawyer, as I said, and not to prosecute or litigate or defend litigants in a judicial process, but to simply become a regular agent of the National Bureau of Investigation. Thereafter, for 4 long years as a cadet in the hallowed grounds of the PMA was an extremely difficult journey, especially the plebhood, when during our time, para kaming tumatama sa loto kapag hindi kami nagugulpi ng mga upperclassmen sa loob ng isang araw. Sabi kasi nila noon, he who has not learned to obey is not fit to command. As if we had a choice not to believe them. But as we went through our being commissioned officers of the AFP and eventually as PNP officers and even in our second careers as elected officials, we have always managed to put that dictum into good use in performing our duties and leading our men in the field and in our offices. Those were the most difficult and challenging days, yet somehow there was warmth and comfort in the cool mountain breeze and home in the pine-covered hills. Baguio in all its glory provides for an environment made most conducive to live and learn. My cadet years may have long passed, but my regular visits to Port del Pilar and spontaneous retreat to the city have always been my meaningful repose. Suffice to say, Baguio City has always been my home. No more than the residents of the city can attest to this. While many call Baguio as occasional destination, you proudly call it home. But you and I would agree that it gets more challenging to live in a home where people balloon during the day, flock during holidays, even long weekends, drive cars that jostle into the streets and leave volumes of waste. There are many more telltale problems in the city. Your tourist arrivals reach millions annually, from 1.5 million in 2017 to 1.8 million in 2018. You also stand as the 4th highly urbanized city outside the National Capital Region, with the most population density per square kilometer. The picture of the city of pines becomes even bleaker, with pine trees dying by the day, 45 of which were proven to be killed intentionally early this month. The mountains are balding, and no less than the Department of Environment and Natural Resources blame the construction boom and expanding urban sprawl as the reasons for the decline of the city's pine trees. Like many developed cities, Baguio City has not been spared from new and challenging environmental concerns, such as the impact of increasing population, loss of green and open spaces, and waste management issues, to name a few. Hence, the theme of your 110th Charter Anniversary poses a challenging call nurturing the environment for sustainable development. Needless to say, tourism brought significant changes in both the Baguio city's ecology and way of life. Now more than ever, you need to regain the glory of Baguio. You need to nurture your home. And the very sense of home imbibes discipline, sustainability, and progress. We find hope in the city's institutionalized efforts to promote the sense of home, among which is the 6 o'clock habit when the city siren sounds for 5 minutes every single day to symbolically instill discipline, goodwill, peace, unity among the populace of the city. The revitalization of the environment as one of the city administration's 3-point priorities is also a welcoming start. Meaningful development programs like this must be the focus of local government officials as they gear towards sustainable development goals. Allow me to quickly share, a few months ago, my team and I had come here to Baguio as part of our information drive on the equitable budget distribution intended for local government unit development. The empowerment of LGUs has been my personal advocacy, as demonstrated by the bill that I filed in the Senate last Congress and in this Congress, known as the Budget Reform Advocacy for Village Empowerment, or BRAVE. In principle, this proposal intends to augment the development fund of provinces, municipalities, cities, even barangays, to create development opportunities and attain all-inclusive growth. Taking off from the 2018 figures as an example, Baguio City had 150.5 million peso fund which can be utilized for local development programs, projects, and activities. This was 20% of the city's 752.6 million share of the IRA, the Internal Revenue Allotment, from the national government. Should BRAVE be enacted into law, we are looking at an additional 150 to 300 million pesos to fund your development projects. That's on top of the 150.5 million budget of Baguio for development. You can just imagine kung gaano karaming programa pa ang may papatupad ni Mayor Benji Magalong at ng buong city government para sa ikaunlad ng Baguio City. I was told by my friend, Congressman Mark Go, that he's going to file a counterpart bill in the House tomorrow. So let's work together in both houses. Mayor Benji, as I have known him, is a man who values results over excuses. He's a true leader who values integrity, honor, and service to country and people. I vividly remember the first time Mayor Benji had told me that he was contemplating on running for office. His exact words were, "Sir, gusto kong bumalik at maglingkod sa sarili kong bayan." With his exceptional record as a police officer and public servant, I am confident that the odds are going to be in his favor. With him at the helm, I'm sure that Baguio City would be in good hands. As I lead you this morning, allow me to underscore that any noble cause without collective action yields no progress. This must be the core of our sustainable development efforts as we reach our shared goal, a better Baguio. Again, happy 110th Charter Anniversary. Mabuhay ang Baguio City!
Thank you very much, the Honorable Senator Panfilo Bing Lacson. Sir, please remain on stage. Please, you are requested to please remain on stage as we call on our members of the City Council, our Vice Mayor, our Mayor, our Congressman, of course,